Erev Tov Batay. Let's talk a little bit about how we do in the Bet Knesset, light the candles. So this custom, has been around already for hundreds of years, to light Chanuka candles also on the Bet Knesset. Originally, this was not the original decree of the rabbis. They didn't light in the Bet Knesset. What's the difference, right? What changed now, right? All of a sudden, we're doing the Bet Knesset. Before, they didn't do Bet Knesset. The reason is because in the old days, right, as we said before, that they used to light outside, and so it was recognizable, Pirsum Nisa, to the public. But now, since we light indoors, so Bet Knesset now is the only place where you can, publicize the miracle to the tzibur, to the community. This is the reason why we do it. So the Bet Knesset is coming like instead of what we used to have before, when we used to light outdoors. It's coming in the place of that. There's also another reason why we do it Bet Knesset. The reason is because in the old days, right, there was also a minhag like this where people used to guests, wayfarers, people who are traveling, from one place to another, they would stop in a certain town, In those days, they didn't have like hotels, like we have today, all these things. So what they would do is they would lodge in the Bet Knesset, This was like the hotel. You know what I mean? The guests, the wayfarers would lodge. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you talk outside? It's bothering us. Excuse me. Miss? Please, outside. We're doing a lecture. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so as we said, right, that in the Bet Knesset, we light because of the guests that are there, the people who are lodging, it's like a hotel. So because of that, they have to also light Chanukah candles, the people who are living in the Bet Knesset, who are staying in the Bet Knesset. So this, we light for them, that's also another reason why we do it. So, but it's not exactly the same thing as lighting at home. You know why? Because when you light at home, the rabbis decreed, to do this. You're doing the mitzvah proper way. But here in the Bet Knesset, you're not really doing the mitzvah in the proper way. This is just a minhag, that they made, later on, as the time went along, right? This was already many hundreds of years ago. They started this custom. So, now we're doing the Bet Knesset, but the thing is, if you have a house, if you have a home, you're not going to be Yotzei Dechovah in the Bet Knesset. You know what I mean? You have to go light at home also. This is just a minhag, So don't think, oh, well, I heard it at the shul, that's it, I'm done. No. Right? It doesn't work like that, right? You have to do it again when you go home also. It's not enough just to do in Bet Knesset. So the only person, that it's going to be good for the Bet Knesset to see the candles there, it's going to be somebody who doesn't have a house. What does that mean? He's a guest, right? He's lodging, as we said, right? He doesn't have a home. He doesn't live in this town. He lives in a different place. So he's here as a guest, So a person like this, who's a guest, and he has no house over here to live in this place where he's staying, so there he can be Yotzei Dechovah in the Bet Knesset. That's the thing, So it depends, right? But for most people, you cannot be Yotzei Dechovah in the Bet Knesset. So don't, think like this, right? Okay, so it's very important to understand that. Also, there's another difference, right? Which is, when do we light the Chanukah candles at Bet Knesset? We light it at Shkia, right? When we finish the Mincha prayer. That's when we light. We don't light at Tzita Kochavim, which is later, at dusk already. We do it Shkia, because, we have to do Arvit afterwards, right? So we don't have time to wait for Tzita Kochavim, to wait for the night. So at Shkia, we already light the candles. Right after Mincha prayer, right? Right after you finish Mincha, you light the candles, and then you go home, right? You do Arvit first, first Arvit, right? No Divrei Torah, as we said. Go home and light yourself also over there on time, on the proper time. This is the way to do it, to cover all the things. But the thing is like this, the person who lit the candles, right? Whoever it was, the rabbi or the chazan, whatever. The person who lit the candles in the shul, if he already made the brachot, so those brachot, he cannot make them again when he goes home. He already made the bracha. So let me explain to you how that works, right? Let's say first night, right? He came, right? First night is when? Sunday night, right? Sunday night is the first night. Let's say, he came, this guy, right? He lit for the Bet Knesset. He did 3 brachot, right? Le'adlik ner shel Chanukah, and she'asa nisim, and shechianu. He did 3 brachot, right? So now when he goes home to light, depends, right? If he lives by himself, he's only going to make Liadlik Chanuka. She'asa Nisim and Shechianu he already made in the shul. So he's not going to do it again when he goes home. But if he has a family there, some family members, children, wife, he has to make for them all 3 brachot, because they didn't hear in the shul. They were not in the shul, So they didn't hear in the shul, so he has to make all 3 brachot at home, for them. For himself, he doesn't need 3 brachot. 1 is enough. Because he already made the bracha in the shul. But a person who just heard the brachot in the shul, he has to do all the brachot again when he goes home. You know what I mean? Every bracha. Because he didn't say himself. He just said amen, well, that's nothing. You cannot be Yotzei Dechula, as we said, right? In the shul, you're not Yotzei Dechula. So that's the rule with the shul, Where do we light in the shul? Not out there in the hallway. It has to be in the Bet Knesset, the shul, right? You have to light in Bet Knesset. Not out there, because that's not Bet Knesset. Bet Knesset is here. So you have to light over here. Where should the menorah be, right? It should be on the south side, of the Bet Knesset, right? So what does that mean? This is east, right? This is right. This is west, right? So it should be like here, the menorah, something like that, right? Over here. So this is east, right? This is west. This is north. This is south. Am I right? Yeah. South. Okay, south. Okay. So why do we light in the south? Because in the Bet Hamikdash it was also there, in the south, So we do the same thing like the Bet Hamikdash, the Mishkan, south side. That table is good. Okay, whatever, right? Just it's good to know, right? These things. Also, there's another rule, Sometimes it happens to us over here, right? Right? Sometimes we don't have a minyan, right? Hopefully in Chanuka we're gonna have a minyan every day, right? But if you don't have a minyan, can you light the candles? No, you need a minyan to light the candles in the shul. You know what I mean? So if there's no minyan, you have to wait for a minyan. You know what I mean? So let's say because it's Pirsum Enisa, for the public, this lighting, So if you don't have 10 people, there's no public, there's no tzibur. You don't have a tzibur. At home, you don't need a minyan, of course, right? You light without a minyan, who cares? But in the shul, you need a minyan to light candles, Chanukah candles, So if you make a bracha, and you light without a minyan, it's bracha labatala. It's no good, right? Asur. You know what I mean? So the best you can do, if you don't have a minyan, what do? You light without a bracha. No bracha, just light it, What can you do, right? You do the best you can. That's the thing, If you don't have a minyan, you don't have, that's it, right? It has to be like that. So that's very important to know, right? All these things, as we said. And then, right, the subsequent nights, we're not doing 3 brachot, right? We're doing only 2, right? Shechianu only the first night. And then the next, all the nights, right, afterwards, we just do Le'adlik Neshal Chanuka, right? And She'asa Nisim, 2 brachot. You know that, right? I don't have to tell you. You know that. Maran Rabbi, he also writes, another thing, which is, he says, since in the Bet Knesset, because we have tzibur, right? We have to light the menorah here. He says, same thing also, applies if you go to like a chatuna, or a wedding, or a simcha, a party, whatever, something like that, right? A gathering of public, He says, also you should light there, Chanukah candles. Like, where there's a tzibur, like chatuna, right? The wedding, right? Bar mitzvah, things like this. You should light there with brachot. He says, Maran, make brachot over there and light Chanukah candles.
You can shoot lighting in the morning also, what?
Yeah, but in the morning you cannot make a bracha, just without a bracha, it's like a minhag, yeah. Maybe they have a minhag like this. Some people, but no bracha, right? Because in the morning it's not the right time. So you cannot make a bracha. So, it's like when we do the same thing like Sfirat Omer, we do Sfirat Omer in the morning, the shul, right? But, it's not really, right, real Sfirat, because Sfirat is at night. You know what I mean? So also there, we do without bracha. We say, Hayom, right? Shlosha Yamim LaOmer, right? Like this, no bracha. Same thing with the Chanukah, right? If you're lighting in the morning in the shul, no bracha, just light, right? Minhag. That's something else. But when you go to a gathering like this, a lot of people, big tzibur, you make over there with bracha. You light at night with bracha. But here's the thing, right? Remember you asked me, what about Chabad? Right? They light outside. So I told you, right? They shouldn't make a bracha. What's the difference? They also have a lot of people there. They have 100 people, right? Why don't they make a blessing over there? Well, they should not, right? What's the reason why? Because in order to make the blessing, you need a house, there has to be a building, a roof. over your head. Over there, they're doing outside. Outside, it's not kosher. You cannot light Hanukkah candles outside. You have to have a house. Tzarich bait. It has to be in a bait,
Didn't you say that the people used to light outside?
Yeah, okay. Oh, good question. You see, it's sharp. Harif. You're harif. So the answer is, yes, we're lighting outside, but we're lighting for that house, which is next to it, right? That's okay, But when you're lighting just outside, no house, just in the park, this is no good. We cannot do that. You understand? Yes, we're lighting outside, in the old days, but we're lighting for the house, that you have. You know what I mean? It's right next to the house, right next to it. It's samuch. But here you're in the park, or let's say you're in the field, sadeh, right? Let's say, like Maran says, let's say the chayalim, the army, right? They are, soldiers who are in the field, in Chanukkah, they're sitting in the field. Can they light the Chanukkah candles there? No, why? Because there's no bite there, So they light without a bracha, no bracha. You know what I mean? Because you cannot make a bracha when you don't have a bite. This is the thing, So that applies to everybody, by the way, Anybody who has no bite cannot do Hanukkah candles.
Can they put on the field like a sukkah or like a
Yeah, they can do like ohel, make a tent, something like that. But yeah. But sometimes they don't have a tent either. You know what I mean? They have nothing. They're just sitting there, the chayalim, just without nothing. You know what I mean? It's rough. Army's rough life. You know what I mean? It's not the luxury. You know what I mean? So that's the way it is. What can you do, right? They don't always have all these good things. The amenities, right? They don't have all these things. Okay, Shem Yazar. So anyway, as we said, right, that it's different. It's not the same thing. Without a house, no lighting. You cannot light without a house. Okay, very good. So what else did I want to tell you? Yeah, so then we have Rosh Chodesh, So there we bring out extra, Sefer Torah for Rosh Chodesh towards the end of Chanukah, and we also read the Rosh Chodesh, Chelek over there, right? We read for Rosh Chodesh. So if it's Shabbat, if it falls on Shabbat, we bring 3 Sefer Torah, right? One for Parsha Shavua, one for Chanukah, and one for Rosh Chodesh, right? If it falls on Yom Chol, 2 Sefer Torah, right? One for Chanukah, and one for Rosh Chodesh, right? That's the way it's done. Okay, Bezat Hashem, you know that, right? You got that deal. Okay, we'll stop here. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen. רבי חנין המלך שאומר, עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעוזר את ישראל, לפיך הכיר בעלם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר אדוני חפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה באדיר.